here's what I want you to do. For just a moment, I want you to think of the name of somebody about whom you've drawn a negative conclusion. Now, if it's somebody you're seated next to, pick another one just for the moment. But think of the name of somebody about whom you've drawn a negative conclusion. Think about it. Could be a customer, supplier, could be a boss, direct report, could be a spouse, could be a child, could be a neighbor, doesn't matter. Think of somebody. Raise your hand if you can think of somebody. Don't point at them, just raise the hand. Good. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the fact that we have concerns and challenges, problems with other people. The challenge becomes how we handle them. See, here's the issue. What we know from our research is this. The big idea here, the first big idea I want to share, is that anytime you find yourself stuck with a chronic problem in a relationship, a team, or an organization, anytime you're not reaching the potential of your performance as an organization or a team, or the potential of a relationship, there are always crucial conversations we're either not holding or not holding well. That's the principle. The diagnostic principle for us as leaders is when we find we're not achieving our potential to step back and ask, what's the crucial conversation we're either not holding or not holding well? To present it graphically, let's take a look at this. So I want you to imagine this is you. Now, the way life works is that as you're walking along and moving towards some super awesome goal, something you'd like to achieve, that's when problems begin. Many of us wish that we could create a life where we had fewer crucial conversations. How many of us would like that? Wouldn't you like to have fewer? The best way to do that is to have a meaningless life. So as soon as you give up on super awesome goals and don't care about missions and visions and things like that, you have a lot fewer crucial conversations. But as soon as you start caring about something, then something else starts to happen. Let me describe it with an experience that I had. So I've written collaboratively with my partners over the past 24 years. One of them, Carrie Patterson, and myself work together a lot. We have a process we use. One or the other of us will write the first draft of a chapter, and then we send it to the other for rewrites. And then we set up a time to talk and give each other feedback. That's the process. So at one point, Carrie had taken first draft on a chapter. He sent it to me. I did some very aggressive rewrites. I emailed it to him. It's now 7 o'clock on a Saturday evening. We've scheduled a time to talk. So I called him. He picks up the phone. I said, hey, Carrie, now a good time? Yeah, now's a good time. I said, did you get the chapter back? He said, I did. I said, what did you think? He said, you ruined it. I said, I didn't ruin it, I fixed it. He said, you didn't fix it, it's now all disjointed. It goes from A to C to B and it doesn't work anymore. Now, did you time that? How long did that take? It took 4 seconds for the conversation to go from casual to crucial. Now, the irony here is that conversation took place while we were writing crucial conversations. It was high stakes. It was very important emotionally to us. We had opposing opinions coming in. And finally, that provoked an emotional response from it. When conversations turn from casual to crucial, the irony is that when it matters most, you and I tend to do our worst. And that's why these moments matter so much. So I want you to think for just a moment about that person about whom you've drawn a negative conclusion. Then turn to your partner. All I want you to do is share one brief thing. Don't tell them who it is. Don't give them background. I don't want you to disclose inappropriate information. All I want you to do is share the answer to this question. How is it affecting your behavior? Give one example of how you're behaving differently towards that person because of the concerns you have with them. Take 30 seconds. Just share one example. Okay, good. How many of you could see at least one example of how it's affecting your behavior? How many of us could see that? Very good. If you can't see it yet, keep looking, keep watching. Now, here's the most important question. How many of you could see that the way you're behaving probably isn't helping? Can any of you see that? Yeah, here's the point. If it's not possible to have fewer crucial conversations without just having a meaningful life, then the point here is we're going to confront them. Along our journey to some super awesome goal, they will always occur, and there's nothing wrong with that. Life is working fine. In fact, I believe there's a God-ordained purpose to crucial conversations. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But once you come to them, you have only two options. You can talk it out. That's an option. You can talk it out. You can find a way to absolutely honestly and absolutely respectfully share your concerns. You can try to find that way. But for the most part, we don't talk it out. If you don't talk it out, you don't get to vote on whether you do the second thing. You will do it. If you don't talk it out, you will act it out. It will show up in your behavior, and that will provoke behavior in response. And it always gets worse. Talk it out or act it out are the only two options available.